actually outside. Do you want to start out there first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me grab my shoes and we'll actually start in the backyard. So, I guess let's start over here since the gate's on that side. So the fence that they put in is already stained. So you do not need to stain it, that's already been done. Outside you'll find some of these little buckets throughout the yard. I'm going to make a note because this one's missing the cap. But these are just controlling the areas of the sprinkler system. So these are typically not things you'll need to do anything with, but that's what they are if you are curious.
So they're gonna put on the cap there, right?
Well, I'm going to make a note for them too because it is missing. Nothing really important on this side. Now, at the bottom of your brick, you'll notice there are gaps every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Those are called weep holes, like a weeping hole. And those allow for moisture to escape. Because brick and mortar is all porous, it'll absorb moisture. So these weep holes allow that moisture to be able to get back out as opposed to being trapped in your wall. So you'll notice those like every few feet.
So it's gonna fix it?
Huh?
They're gonna put something on there?
No, that's the whole point. They're supposed to stay open so that moisture can escape.
Okay.
Yeah. These ones though are not. In the garage where you'll have it set up for once a week or whatever, and that is supposed to tell it not to go off if it rains right before that. So for example, if you had them set to go off tomorrow and it rained today,
Mm-hmm.
then it would tell them not to go off, so you're not watering for no reason.
Okay, there's the water, right?
I'm sorry?
There's the water, right?
What's the question?
There's the water.
There's the water?
Here.
Well, they are watering it. I'm not sure what the question is.
No, why here's the water?
Because they're watering the grass.
Okay.
If they didn't water the grass, it wouldn't live.
Okay.
Let me check this, make sure it's... Okay, well that's obviously not... Got a couple issues there. I'll make a note about that. Now the first drain I want to point out is up there under the roof. That's your secondary HVAC drain. So you have a primary in this inside, which I'll show you once we get to it. The primary is where it should drain, but over a long enough period of time, it's possible for that to clog up, so it will start to drain out of there instead. When that happens, you want to have somebody come and clean out the primary drain. Okay, and you basically just have the AC company do that.
Okay.
Okay. You have two more drains right here, which are coming from your water heater. So the left one is the pressure release, which is where it'll get rid of extra water pressure if it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
The right one is the overflow, which is just connected to the overflow pan. So neither one of those should really drain. If they do, then you know that there's an issue and you need to have a plumber come and look at it. So it looks like there's several spots. And then that's an expansion joint. So basically you have an expansion joint, you'll have at least one or two on each side of the house. And this allows your house to flex a little bit without you having some big crack going up the side of your wall. So what they do is they leave these seams in the brick and then they will fill that in with silicone, which that is filled in. I guess I could mark that right here. But yeah, so you'll know there's probably going to be another one over here. There will be a couple more on the other side of the house. And that is what they are for.
You're gonna make a note for that too.
So this is your gas meter. You have a valve at every gas appliance. So if you ever need to turn off all the gas, you can. But you have two shutoffs out here. There's one here and one here. Either one of these will turn off all the gas going into your house. So if you ever need to turn off all the gas, this is where you do that. This loose wiring here is your TV, phone, and internet lines. So the builder does not hook those up. Your service provider will. So that's why they leave them out here for them to get to. Once you have those services hooked up, they're going to come out here and put a box over it and everything. Yeah, you will definitely need a wrench to turn that. This is your main breaker panel. So you have your big breakers out here, in particular the main cutoff. So this will turn off all the power, and then you'll see that you've got a few other breakers out here. But the majority of your breakers are in the sub panel, which are inside, or maybe the garage. So probably won't really need to use this much, if at all. And then that being said, you also do have a spot to lock that if you would like to. And that's about it over here. This is a sewer clean out. You'll notice these like in several spots throughout the yard if we keep looking. Sewer cleanouts are basically just for plumbers. You know, if you get something in your system that starts blocking it up, you will call a plumber and they will use one of these to fish out whatever is causing that issue. So you've actually got sewer cleanouts outside and you have plumbing cleanouts inside, and they all look relatively similar.
Okay.
Partially yours, so you kind of split this right down the middle, and then anything on this side is yours. Now there's a meter and a city cutoff in here. The city cutoff will turn off all of your water, but at this point generally that's just for the city. You actually get your own cutoff, which is going to be the first one after that. So if you look down there, you'll see there's a handle, and that will also cutoff. That will also turn off all the water to your house. So if you ever need to do that, this is where you will want to look. You have a pressure valve in this next one, which is controlling how much water pressure your house is getting. I don't really advise touching that unless you know what you're doing. But you
this is the border of the two houses?
Of the yard? Not necessarily. This doesn't always sit right exactly in the middle. So yours is probably more like right here, but you're going to want to ask the builder about that. But this is more just about your main cutoff.
So how I can decide what is the exact line I need to, you know?
Again, I'm actually third party.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not the builder. I'm just an inspector. So if you want to know exactly where your yard ends and where theirs starts, you'll have to ask them.
Okay. I'll do that.
So this is the main water cutoff, and then this here is the main cutoff for just the sprinklers. So if you ever need to turn off just the sprinklers, that is where you do that. And then that's really it. These 2 shelves are the only thing you need. I'm gonna make a note about this bucket down here. That one's broken. Looks like they have several of these that they need to replace. Okay.
This water will drain, right?
Sorry?
Oh. This water should be drained, right?
So it should, but we can still make a note about it.
Yes, sir.
Chances are they just watered today, so
Yeah.
there's a good chance that that's the only reason that's there, but I'll make a note that we're concerned about the low spot.
Yeah, here also.
Yeah, I see that. They call this a drainage swale. So part of the, oh yeah, I'm gonna add this to the note too. They got a bunch of dead grass.
Yeah.
Part of what's going on is they slope everything away from the slab so that you don't have water sitting next to the slab because you don't want it too wet. And then also you have this low point in here which actually allows for water to drain off the property in one way or another. So likely what's going on is they're expecting all the water to kind of go along this way and go out that direction. Those are a little bit low. We'll make a note about it, see what they want to do. Basically, what they're going to say is that they're required to grade it so that water will drain off within 48 hours. Which means, unfortunately, that it's definitely possible for you to have some puddles here and there after it rains, but nothing should last longer than 2 days.
Okay, I need to come tomorrow and check it out again, I guess.
Well, we don't really need to because I'm still going to make a note about it. You know, we're going to say that we're concerned about these low spots, so you can come check it again. I'm just letting you know, like, I'm not going to wait to see. I'm just going to make a note about it, and then we'll let them look at it.
Okay.
And there's nothing really else to look at over here. I was just making sure that there's no giant holes or anything that I'm not expecting. So we're going to go in the garage, but before we go in there, they're a little excessive. Whoa. There's a hole there too. Okay. I'll make a note about these posts. In my experience, they don't sand these down, but they're not usually this rough. So I'll make a note and see if we can get them to sand these down.
Okay. And these holes, is it normal? Or?
So it is normal. You'll notice the same thing over here. It's serving the same purpose as the weep holes that I was pointing out. So anytime you have like a surface that water could rest on, which will happen on these lintels that are above the windows and doors, they'll end up putting those weep holes as well. So it's the same thing as like at the bottom.
Okay. So what is the purpose of that?
It is to allow moisture to escape.
Okay.
Because stone, brick, mortar, all of that is porous. It's not watertight. You know, moisture can get through that, and then it can potentially get stuck in there, and that can cause mold. So you do not want that. If you go to any building, any neighborhood, anywhere
I can see
that has
all-
brick or stone, you
everyone-
will notice that they have those holes. Yes, that's actually a code requirement. So, that's the control for your sprinklers over there. We're actually not covering that today. Apparently they have somebody else who will be going over that with you at another time, but that is the control right there. This is your sub panel. So They go ahead and label these for you. The only thing that I'm going to point out is that you will notice you have some of these GFCI breakers, which you got a few of them. And these are referring to your GFCI outlets. Do you know what those are? This is a GFCI outlet. So you'll notice, like, if it trips or if I press this button, it'll pop out like that. And then it does not work until I reset this button right there, okay? So you have these in all of your wet areas. They're surge protected. So you do have these in your wet areas, and most of the time they will only trip at the outlet, but keep in mind you have a few breakers for them there.
So this garage is already done, or they are still
Yeah, so
working on this?
This is actually a very common thing for a lot of different builders. They call this an unfinished garage, which means that they tape and float, but they do not texture or paint. And this is because it is not a living area. So if you decide that you would like to have it finished out, that's something that you will have to do after you close.
And these gaps, they're not gonna.
So,
And there's a crack right there.
oh, you mean at that corner?
Yes.
Or they're just missing the tape there.
And here also, right?
So the reason there's a gap is because you do not want the sheetrock touching the concrete. If you do, the moisture is going to get up into the sheetrock and it will tear this up. It will just fall apart.
Okay.
If you decide you don't like that gap and you want to finish it out, you would put base boards along the bottom to cover that up.
And these cracks, all things.
Yes, so you will notice cracks on the top of the slab. There's always hairline cracks on basically any slab that you see. The concern is when they continue to split apart. Like if they get so thick that you can like fit a whole quarter in there or something like that, that is a concern. But it is expected that you will have cracks on the surface of your concrete.
Okay.
So yeah, this is not.
And we're gonna check the door closing and opening.
Yes, we can.
Cool.
All right. Any questions outside?
No.
Okay.
And here's also crack right there.
Okay, I'll go ahead and mark that before I come inside. So give me a few minutes to go ahead and make notes for the issues we found outside.
Okay.